Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Perspectivesof from the state for having her invitation to me so that I'll be able to be here with you to provide some information around the current status of energy efficiency and renewable energy technologies in Vietnam. That is one of the part of our workshops today. My presentations would be some point as below. First of all, I'd like to present some ideas about the energy transition. Then I'd like to address sometimes on the Vietnam energy sectors, an overview of what and in what way we use energies in Vietnam. Then I move on to Vietnam policy on energy efficiency promotion for the time being. And then I move on to the strategies launched by Vietnam on renewable energy developments. In order to identify further action for the energy efficiency, renewable energy technologies in Vietnam, I'd like to address about the current status and development perspective of these two technologies in Vietnam. And being a lecturer of the Hanoi University of Science Technology, would like to spend some time on describing to you on the activity in energy efficiency and renewable energies in Vietnam. And finally, I should have some conclusion and recommendations for my papers. Now, just have a look at the energy transition milestone. Energy transition is not new concept. We have experienced so far two energy transitions in the past. The first was the shift from the biofuels to coal due to the development of the coal sectors. And the second energy transition happening in mid-20th centuries, that is the shift from the coal to oil and gas due to the development of these two natural resources. And, but today, we experience another energy transition on the renewable energy resources. But today energy transition has two meanings. We try to maximize the use of renewable for power generations, and at the same time, we need to minimize the use of energy through energy efficiency activities. Now, look at the Vietnam energy sectors. We may see we use a lot of energies. In 2019, the total primary energy supplies is around 90,000 kilotons of oil equivalents. It was about 11% increase compared to 2018. For the periods of 2011 to 2019, the average growth of the total primary energy supplies was about 6.1%, of which coal has doubled, 13.2%. Renewables increased around 10.5% per year. We have some data on the change in energy import-export difference. You may know that we have a lot of fossil fuel resources, coal, oil, gas. But now the situation has been changed. The change in energy import-export just happening during the 2010 up to 2019. And you can see here in 2015, we became the net energy importers. The energy imports for the 2015 is around 6%, and now, in 2019, it went up 95%. Regarding the energy economic indicators for Vietnam during the 2015-2019, we have very interesting figures here. I'd like to share with you two data on energy intensities and electricity intensities. It was very high during these periods. You see that in order to produce 1,000 US dollars, we have to use more than 500 kilo oil equivalents. And of course, we have to spend at least 1,200 kilowatt hours to produce 1,000 US dollars. It was very high. Just compared to the other Asian countries regarding the energy efficiency, I use the data of 2018. You can see that energy intensities of Vietnam's around 1.4 times higher compared to Thailand's. Of course, compared to Japan's, we had 4 times higher. Similarly, for electricity's intensities, is more for Vietnam compared to Thailand, around 2.5 times higher. And of course, for the Republic of Korea, here you can see that the increase in around 2.3 times higher. So it means the energy intensity and electricity intensities in Vietnam was much higher compared to the other Asian countries. And of course, we need to promote the energy efficiency measures. Vietnam was endorsed with the potential of renewable sources. And here in this slide, you can see that we have a variety of renewable sources that could be used for power generation. For the wind, we have onshore and offshore potentials. For the wind offshore, around 217 gigawatts. Offshore, 160 gigawatt. We have solar energy, large-scale farm, around 309 gigawatt. Floating, approximately around 77 gigawatt. Rooftop, very amazing, around 48 gigawatt. Biomass, we have solid waste, garbage, and also we have geothermal, tidal biogas. So with these varieties of renewable sources, Vietnam needs to explore renewable energy for power generations in the years to come. Now, so far, the government of Vietnam has already launched a variety of policy on energy efficiency promotions. We have 2 types of programs, national program. The first one was started for the period of 2006 and finished in the 2015. And recently we had the second one just following. And the third one recently, we have Vietnam National Energy Efficiency Program for 2019-2030. We can call it softly as the VNEP 3. You can see here in these slides, we have different targets for different industrial sectors concerned: steel industries, chemical industries, paper and pulp. Those are the sectors we have a lot of potential to develop renewable energy efficiency technology. On the renewable energy developments, Vietnam also launched a different strategy for renewable development. The first one, the development strategy for renewable in Vietnam toward 2030 with a vision to 2050. The target for renewable energy electricity generations around 2020, 101 billion kilowatt hours. The shares are around 38% compared to the total power generation in Vietnam. And for 2030, 186 billions. Finally, for 2050, around 452 billion kilowatt hours. The shares are around 43%. And recently, we had a resolution of Politburo on orientation of Vietnam national energy development strategies to 2030 and with the outlook to 2045. We call it simply that the resolution 55. As there are some certain target has already fixed under these resolutions. By 2030, the total installed power capacity is around 125, 130 gigawatt. That generates around 550 up to 600 billion kilowatt hours. And the share is a very important point. The share of the renewable energy sources in the total primary energy supplies, 15 to 20% by 2030. And it goes up to 25 to 30% 2045. Regarding the current status of energy efficiency and renewable energy technologies in Vietnam, there are a lot of activity on these 2 sectors. But I'd like to address here only the Vietnam Key Science Technology Program, to which I'm serving as the Deputy Chair of the program. Its name was Applied Research and Development of Energy Technology. And the objective of this program is to acquire, master, and apply advanced technology in exploration, production, and use of different types of renewable sources that includes solar, wind, biomass, biofuel, and other renewable sources. Also, we have to apply and develop advanced technology to improve energy efficiency extraction, production, storage, and use. The durations of this program is 5 years, starting from 2016 and scheduled to finish in 2020. But due to the COVID-19, we have 1-year extensions. There are so many activities under this program that I mentioned in this slide. We have more or less more than 12 projects which already completed or ongoing under this program. You can see here in this slide that the program just covers different types of research activity on the energy efficiency and also for renewable energy. And it was important in that point that apart from the government, the seed money given by the government, we also have support, financial support from the stakeholders regarding the different industries, different organizations that would be beneficiary from the production of such research activities. Now, in order to identify the development perspective of the energy efficiency and renewable energy technologies in Vietnam, we need to realize what looks like a modern energy system in Vietnam in the years to come. You may see here in these slides, we have a modern energy systems. For the supply side, we already see this clear that we need to move from the storable fuel toward energy system, relying on fluctuating energy sources. In the past, it was only fossil fuel-based power system. But now we have to realize that there are a lot of different types of renewable energy sources to get involved in the power sectors. So reliability of the system is needed. We also experience a shift from the single system with relatively limited number of fuel sources toward a system with utilizations of many complementary renewable sources. So diversity of the system is required. And from the demand side or end use energies, we can foresee the shift from the traditional energy system to electricity-based system. It means electrification is foreseen or is needed. Flexibility of the modern power system has implied in all three sectors: the power system, from the power generation, transmission, distribution, storage, and finally from the demand side. We see another thing that is the sector coupling. So far, for example, to provide heat, we normally use thermal application. But now in other sectors, in these sectors, the sector coupling may be needed. The appearance of the electricity used for the thermal application and the electric vehicles must be a good example for sector coupling. Based upon that kind of scenarios for the modern energy and also for the flexibilities of the power system in Vietnam, we identify some renewable energy and energy efficiency technologies that could be potentially developed in Vietnam for the medium and long-term perspective. For the power generations, the fuel switching must be seen. The coal and biomass co-firing is a very promising option. Coal blending is another issue because so far you may know that we use a lot of anthracite for the power generation. The anthracite is very difficult to burn, so we have to mix up with other easy coal so that we can increase the efficiency of the thermal power plants. Another issue regarding the waste to energy, we try to use municipal solid waste for minimize the environmental emission, but at the same time, you can provide additional electricity coming out from such systems. For the power generation also, we have to see some technology to integrate solar PV in the national grid or smart grid. That is one of the issues that we have a lot of the funding from the government, from Ministry of Science Technology, Ministry of Industry and Trade to move forward that kind of technology. In order to guarantee the flexibility of the power system, the energy storage must be needed. So here you can see in this slide, we have different type of energy storage technology, the pump hydro storage, the battery energy storage system use batteries, and also we may use other type of technology. But in Vietnam, it's potential that the development of battery energy storage system must be very good option in the years to come. For the demand side management, we have some certain potential technologies that could be widely utilizable in Vietnam. The demand response is a very good point. You can change the power consumption rather than providing the difference in the supply side. So demand response seeks to adjust the demands for the power instead of adjusting supplies. Of course, there are some barriers, and we need appropriate mechanism to promote the demand response technology to be successfully applicable in Vietnam. For the sector coupling, we may see that the electrification of transport in the near futures, the electric vehicle market has been increasing during the recent times. You can see here there are some reference regarding the electricity vehicle market. And recently, the World Economic Forum has launched a report on electric vehicle for smart cities. Those things must be taken into account when we identify and promote appropriate technology for energy efficiency renewable and to be developed in Vietnam. And for the sector coupling, you can see another issue, that is the solar PV water heating. So far, normally we use the fossil fuels system to provide hot waters, and you may be solar water heaters to provide hot waters. But in the near future, if we have more electricity from the renewable energy sources, we have to think about using electricity from such system to provide hot waters. So we have solar PV water heating directly heated up by the PV. Or even we can use for the cooling in the buildings, we may use the solar PV based air source heat pump. That is very good technology that we have adapted. Now, Hanoi University of Science Technology is really a leading university in Vietnam. Or we may have access to our link just to see more detail about our universities. It is the interdisciplinary technical universities. And regarding the energy efficiency and renewable energy technology, our university has actively involved in both academic training, also professional research development regarding these two sectors. For the energy sources and technology, there are so many schools and institutes within our university just involved. School of Heat Engineering and Refrigeration, School of Transport Engineering, School of Engineering Physics, School of Chemical Engineering, and School of Electrical Engineering. Regarding the energy efficiency field of study and training, we also have another school, School of Environmental Science Technology, a School of Economic and Management, a School of Electrical Engineering, and of course, School of Heat Engineering and Refrigeration. In these figures, I'd like to address some major research activities of our universities in energy efficiency and renewable energy since 2010. For the energy efficiency in the power sectors, we already conducted some research on circulating influence bed technology, the clean coal technology, coal blending also carry out. In the power transmission and distribution, our staff already conducted some research work on smart control, particularly for the end user sectors. We focus on developing and applying high energy efficient electric motors developed by School of Electrical Engineering, efficient lighting. Demand response, we also carry out some certain research. For the high energy efficiency industrial boilers, we also focus on. And finally, for the post-harvest technology, we also conducted some contract work in order to improve the energy use, also increase the quality of the product in these sectors. In the field of renewable energy for the power sectors, of course, we conducted quite a lot of work on solar PV, wind and hydro, coal biomass co-firing, and biomass gasification for combined heat and power. In power generation and distribution, we also have some study on integrations of variable renewable energy into the national grid and smart grid also. And finally, in the end user sectors, we also conducted some work on solar and heat pump hybrid system to provide hot waters for the building, for the hotels. Bio-oil, biodiesel is also another issue that we already conducted so far in the transport sectors, and that kind of work was conducted by School of Food and Biotechnology, also by the School of Transport Engineering. Waste to energy recently was conducted by School of Heat Engineering and Refrigeration, also from the School of Chemical Engineering. In this slide, you may see that we have 9 selected school institutes at our university who has actively involved in energy efficiency, renewable technology, academic training, and scientific research in both energy efficiency and also for renewable energy. And some figures below, some photos below, just the products of such research activities. Now, with the above information, I'd like to come to some conclusion and recommendations. A global trend in energy transitions from system dominated by fossil fuels toward a system using a variety of renewable energy resources is now widely applicable. And Vietnam is not an exceptional case to follow that kind of trend. We also see the huge potential of renewable sources in Vietnam for satisfying the nation's energy demands. And of course, through the figure and information I provided, we can see plenty of room for renewable for energy efficiency implementations in Vietnam. But of course, for the energy sector developments in Vietnam, 3 objectives for energy transitions has already identified. Firstly, that is the energy securities. I mean, no power shut-off. The second objective is affordable energy. The energy produced could be affordable for the local people. And the third one, that the fulfillment of Vietnam environment protection commitment to the international society, basically to greenhouse gas emission mitigations. And therefore, in Vietnam, the need to combine and integrate the energy efficiency with renewable energy technology must be needed to implement the energy transitions in Vietnam. And finally, Hanoi University of Science Technology has a very important role in national capacity building for both energy efficiency and renewable energy technology. So we'd like to fulfill our task so as to contribute successfully to the implementation of energy transitions in Vietnam in the years to come. With that, I'd like to thank you for your kind listening, and I'm now very happy to have any question from the floor. Thank you.